All right, let's call the meeting to order, please. Let's see, note that at the moment Joe Shinard is excused. Mark Ehrman is going to be seated at this time. First item,
And Steve Noseworthy.
oh, excuse me, and Steve Noseworthy as well. So Mark, you'll be seated for Steve. Okay. Consideration of the meeting minutes from April 13th, 2022. Does anyone have anything?
You and I that were there, I think.
I have 184 and 185.
Wait, wait, mm, I'll borrow somebody else's, I think everybody's except for mine.
Okay.
It's having machine issues.
What are you looking for?
Set of minutes.
Oh,
The minutes.
I'll just take full
I
package.
kept
just in case you need it.
getting interrupted. Number, Jim? What number?
184 and 185, page 5.
Okay,
So that Presby describes proposed minor subdivision, which has one lot on one side of the road. We should probably say one side of Cooper Memorial Drive,
okay,
and then the other two lots on the other side with a right of way for access,
okay,
just so we know which, for
Yeah.
clarity.
exactly.
Does anyone have anything else? Nope. Is there a motion to approve the minutes with that one change?
I'll make the motion.
Second?
So you and I can vote on.
So why don't we skip over this and wait for someone else to
See
come?
if Joe shows up.
Yeah.
If Joe was there as well.
Yeah. sure.
Alan? Yeah. Well,
Item 3, old business subdivision SUB 2022-1, map 118, lot 002, Presby DBA T&T Mountain Investments LLC subdivision. Dad, come on up.
I think we provided a new plan, right, with a bunch of changes and just slight modifications based on our last meeting. I'm pretty sure I got everything on it.
Okay. You have your address on here? Yes, no?
Yeah, it's right in the, under the approved place.
Oh,
where it
yeah,
says-
244 Main Street, Franconia. Wetlands aren't shown in maps.
Are the rest shown on there?
I'm going through the list.
Oh, okay, you want to do it? Are there any wetlands?
Not on this property. We delineated the wetlands and then located them. They're at the very toe of the slope. On the south side, I guess, down by the drainage, natural drainage swales. I'll explain it. Opposite the main street, they're down on that side of the property line. They come close, right up to the edge of the line, but
Number of acres in village district.
Really, PC district.
Well, the whole thing is,
The whole thing's in village zone
Yeah.
district.
yeah,
And the lot size is on there.
Yeah. Property line, it's not that.
The
Deed-
deed,
Go
deed
ahead.
restrictions. I
Deed
don't know.
restrictions. I know you've given us some information.
you know, so however many pages of stuff there was.
It was quite a bit, but It really,
So was there any floodplain in this?
I don't believe there's any floodplain on it. The map kind of, I think the flood map kind of shows it like close to the boundary down there in the low spot.
I have some overlap. On,
Just on the whisker of the bottom of this, down the toe of the slope, probably maybe.
it's kind of, because of the color, it's
Right
hard
here.
to see. Let's see, it comes up here. It goes like
Yeah, right
that.
at the toe, there might be a tiny bit. So
And then this is the 500 here.
Yeah.
Just, it's this piece over here.
and I think that would even be outside the building setbacks. I mean, that little bit, it's unbuildable probably anyway down over the bank.
Yeah.
So,
This meeting ID and password doesn't match what was put on the agenda.
I'm not in a rush, so if you need to do stuff, it's all good.
So this is not the right one on the agenda. It's
Correct.
posted. I don't know how, I don't have authorization to post it. so.
I think Brian Morton, the deputy, were trying to get on according to the agenda. It doesn't
Oh.
match tonight's. I've got
All right,
tonight's
so Brian Norton and James Daniel,
and probably Ray Corver.
well, Ray's not coming.
Oh, he isn't.
Got a hard-
See the meeting ID and everything up on the screen.
884-6859-5637.
definitely not the same as on the agenda.
Be glad when Zoom's gone.
The problem is if there's anybody else, you won't know either.
How'd the other two get on? Mark and Judy.
Probably emailed directly from Carol.
Mark probably got the agenda because he's on the planning board.
Yeah.
And Judy's the,
She probably got the
She's
agenda
recorded.
too. She probably got the invite.
Correct.
Yeah, I invite her
Yeah, okay.
as well as Mark.
So we have an issue as to whether or not the meeting was properly noticed.
correct.
Well, the agenda was emailed to just the planning board, right?
Right,
What's
but I mean,
noticed on like a website somewhere is
Yeah,
probably.
it's
the-
on it. It's
You have to
noticed
post
on
it
the
two places.
website.
yeah, I mean,
They had the option to come physically.
Right.
So it is posted that, so people can come physically, should they choose. I don't know what the,
I mean, someone might have said, well, I'll just zoom in rather than show up, and we have the wrong number.
I can't even email or anything because I'm recording this. I can't minimize to do any other work.
Okay,
Did either one of them show up, Brian, or?
No, they texted me and said that they can't, they don't have a regular meeting.
Okay,
no,
just send the,
we got the meeting notice,
your
the
invitation
Zoom link.
to me
Okay.
to them.
Okay.
hey Carol?
Yeah.
Jimmy raised the question, is, would the meeting be considered legally noticed if we don't have the right thing?
Probably not.
And because there may be other people that don't have the ability to contact us, so it may not be a legal notice. Jimmy just posed that question. What do you think?
I think you're probably right.
I mean, they do have the ability to attend physically because it says it's gonna be here at this time. But if they plan to zoom in, then
Oops, here comes Brian.
There was one other guy whose name I didn't recognize from Lou Adam, somebody, Adam James.
we should get out of Zoom. Go back to meeting in
That's
public.
Brian.
Yeah.
Brian's on there now.
That way we don't have this problem.
Oh, what's your legal opinion?
I don't know, Jack. Sounds like me, it's not legal opinion.
Right.
I can call my wife if you want. She's a,
I mean,
works as a town administrator, but.
I understand.
Both an attorney.
We could each call an attorney and get 4 different opinions.
Yeah.
But I think, we did have some abutters in the audience last time that might cry foul.
Right. I'll make a motion, we postpone this meeting,
Continue it.
continue it, I mean,
All right, well, why don't we continue it for 1 week as opposed to our regular,
right.
just
Because
to be fair to the applicants.
we posted it wrong, yeah.
We could say 1 week would be enough time to post in the paper.
Yeah.
And
You're gonna have to check with Carol, because she may have a
Right.
meeting.
What's
for
that- what's
I'm
schedule.
waiting for her to get back.
I think this is EBA next.
This is ZBA that night.
Yeah.
I'm sitting on that meeting.
There is something you have.
All right, I know there's a budget meeting one night,
Before, so.
one night next week. I don't know if they settled on a date,
5th, I think,
the 5th,
or it's the Tuesday, so it's either the
Whatever-
3rd or the 5th.
whatever day they had the building committee meeting. I think they were shooting for.
Yes. Let me check my calendar. So that would be the 5th, so the 3rd would be open, I think. 4th is gonna see meeting.
Yeah, I have a ZBA meeting on the floor.
Can you be here on Tuesday the 3rd, Carol? Well, I know that, but you're not always here at 8 o'clock at night either.
Well, if we do, I don't think we should put anything else outside the agenda if we change it. Just leave the existing agenda.
So I just want to see about the notice.
Well, I'll have to set up a new Zoom for next Tuesday.
I'll make the motion, just kind of, yeah.
I mean, but-
What's it?
That's 4th, 5th, 6th, and
Does it
7th.
look like me out there?
Yeah, they had snow coming down.
People
No,
going
it's probably
25.
not.
Hash code is.
People driving 25 in the notch like it's the like in the middle of winter. I'm like, oh, really?
I mean, it's all melted.
Yeah, it's not sticking. Let's hope it doesn't stick around. We get snow in May,
Yeah, it's just
We get
typical.
close to the end of May, we get, when.
Yeah.
We've gotten 6 inches before.
Okay, so
That's
I
a
think-
Maine tonight. You're supposed
I
to
mean, I
possibly get
think
6
I
plus.
could do it,
Not a Maine.
I could do it for the 3rd. The notice that went to abutters went to this meeting.
This
So,
meeting ID and passcode are correct on the butters notice. But the agenda was incorrect.
Who has the, I mean, not that I'm
Well, this,
asking.
I mean, he's covered because we've continued his hearing from 2 weeks ago,
Right.
but some of the other people further down the agenda, well, 2 of them are conceptual.
They're
Is
so-
this-
conceptuals.
Is the agenda,
Well, except for.
Right, these guys
that,
have site plan review.
Yeah, but there's a problem with that in that, the notice had to do with the outside seating. And now they're talking about the, other space, so.
Okay. Well, why don't we at least continue, get that, and then we can talk about these guys.
Okay,
So why don't we, motion to continue this this subdivision application, Presby DBA TNT Mountain Investments to Tuesday, May 3rd at 6 PM. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion. I mean, I think that. I mean, Zoom is an option, right? It's not really a
Well,
mandate.
that's right. Mhm.
So Zoom is an option, not a mandate.
Right, but at this time, some of these abutters could be expecting to be able to come.
It's it's
So they could
advertised
come,
as
right.
hybrid.
But what I'm saying is Zoom is an option.
Right.
So you take that risk. I mean, if Zoom goes down, you're not gonna be able to see it either.
Right.
So, I mean, the meeting, we should probably ask that question in case it ever happens again. Whether or not we have to rely on Zoom or not,
I mean,
or whether if it's posted wrong, or if Zoom goes down in the middle of the meeting, does that mean the meeting has to end? Because I don't think that, has town council ever weighed in on that?
I don't think
Well,
so.
I mean, obviously, meeting could come to an end if the power went out or something, so. But I
Well,
mean, so
but-
that's, that's beyond our control, but I
No, but
think.
we've timed out in Zoom before in meetings that,
Mhm.
you know,
Yes, we have.
we've timed out and meetings have continued. So, I mean, that basically is the same thing, I would think, as not being able to attend, if you're there and all sometimes out.
Yeah.
And we don't really want to do away with the Zoom because we have members who need to come in by Zoom because of, medical issues.
Well, those are, yeah.
Yeah.
But we probably should ask that question, just so we have a legal opinion on it for the future. I would think.
Call the Hampshire Municipal Association, I'm sure they run into the situation.
Yeah.
Oh, you an attorney?
We just asked him.
Not in this area, Joe.
So your motion is,
All right, so I want to talk to the next applicant.
am I done?
Yeah, all right, so we're moving this one to May 3rd. Paul made the motion, Joe seconded it.
right.
All in
Okay,
favor,
so
say
that's a
aye.
Tuesday.
Aye.
I think we have to move the whole meeting. If we're gonna
We're
move,
gonna- these guys-
Tuesday,
These guys
Tuesday,
will fill you in a
May
second.
3rd.
One other option,
we'll
we
fill
could
you
have
in
the
a
whole
second.
meeting. And we could continue it another week for if there's any comments. There's nobody else had comment from Zoom. We can declare this meeting.
You don't know if you're missing a comment or not, because they might not have been able to participate. So that's my point.
I think you're better off to continue it. from
Yeah, well, it helps you too, because what if someone appeals?
Yeah, I guess that maybe from a personal standpoint, if
Sorry.
the only people that got the wrong Zoom connection were planning board members, that would be different. But if that went out to like the public and that was their notice
Mhm.
for the meeting,
Right.
if it's posted on the website the right way and whatever. but-
Maybe like if there's the wrong address on the notice to a butter, it's the wrong address. for the
Right, kinda
meeting.
splitting hairs.
We'd
You're
have to-
better off to default to like
Yeah.
safety. Sure. I understand.
All right,
Thanks.
sorry about that.
Sorry. I know the drill.
Thank you.
I've been on the other end when it's wrong.
Okay,
Take care.
Thank you.
okay.
Okay, Brian, did you catch that?
I did. Thank you. Sorry for the confusion there. Sounds like maybe I wasn't the only one that couldn't get in, so.
Well, I sent it to Jay too. I wasn't sure whether Jay was trying to get in or not. So maybe you could just let him know.
What date was that? Tuesday what?
Tuesday, May 3rd.
Tuesday, May 3rd.
Okay, so next application, SPR 2022-08, map 113, lot 2, Izzy. All right. CDBA El Chavo's Restaurant at Lincoln Center North. Carol, I think they've changed their application from what was
Right,
written.
so when you get, come on up, but when you know, I had about 60 things going on at
Yeah.
the same time. Lisa just said, you're going for fewer seating. So I thought that meant you were going for fewer seating outside. So I called Jim and I said, he's going for fewer seating. And so Jim said, you know, let's just go ahead, you know, he's not going for more seating than he originally asked for. He's going for less seating. And I didn't realize you were talking about back of Plan A, which was the chat room way back when we started.
Exactly,
I didn't realize that. So the notice is for outdoor seating.
that's fine.
So,
Now you're taking in more indoor space
so
instead.
now you're doing indoor space instead, right?
Well, we want to do for the summertime, we want to keep the outdoor seating. And plus, we're gonna add the chat room.
Oh,
which-
okay, so there's like two different.
components.
Yeah, two components.
Components.
Yes.
Okay.
So I guess,
I
So
mean,
we're treating this as conceptual now. We're not actually hearing your application.
I was wondering about that, because it says site plan review, I was gonna
Right,
say.
we're ready,
Right.
at
Yeah,
this
when
stage, we were considered a conceptual that we won't have to notice the abutters.
Yeah, when we first put in the application, it was only for the outside seating.
Mhm.
Since the fact that we have done it since after COVID.
Right?
And, you know, now we want to, once again, make it legit
Mhm.
for town and for the state, which, you know, for the
Yeah.
state, they know that already, that, you know, we do the outside seating.
Mhm.
And I don't, of course, you know, you guys aware of how we ended up changing, you know, a couple of things for
Right.
the outside seating to accommodate everybody else and to be on the safety side as well.
Right. So basically, you're gonna do two things now.
Yes,
Okay, so,
okay, so we could continue the outside seating
right, to
to
May
May
3rd.
3rd. But I'm gonna have to do the notice for the chat room.
Right, we need a new application to convert the chat room to a restaurant.
Wouldn't it be better to have it all in one meeting than have two meetings?
That's their call. If they want to
Right.
submit one application with both things on it, or, you know, Memorial Day is coming up, so maybe you want to get the outside seating rolling.
yes, that's what we, you know, wanted to do first. You know, to do the outside seating and then, you know, because, you know, next week is gonna be Cinco de Mayo as well, so, you know, and it's nice, so we wanna take advantage of it.
Yeah.
It's snowing out, you probably won't.
Hey, exactly. Well, look at it right now. So, I mean, it's, if you guys want to do, if you want us to do one application for both things. and,
That's, you know, that's your prerogative. I mean, so I mean, I think it might save you some time if you do two, that way you can get started on the outside and then,
Okay, so we'll come back tomorrow then.
Or, well, this Tuesday, next Tuesday.
Okay,
Because Tuesday, which is not a normal day for them.
exactly.
We're just fitting it in because now the ZBA has a hearing the next day.
Okay.
Before, so.
So it won't be conceptual next week, it'll be,
it'll be the hearing on this
Yeah, on
application.
the
So
outside.
We'll
on the
continue this
outside
one,
seating.
right?
so this is conceptual, so we should ask any questions now that we have of that, so they can come prepared for getting
For the
their
chat room.
approval for it, correct?
I mean, for the chat room.
For the chat room.
Conceptual for the
Chat room or even the other, because I had a question about the existing outside seating, whether that's going to be, whether we're gonna do the same, request the same thing for here as we did with the brew pub, that there's empty seats left on the inside for every seat that's on the outside. We did that because of the parking and because of
Right.
things like
Well,
that.
That's, we have to review the parking to determine if that's needed.
Well, that's,
Yeah.
that was my, if this is conceptual, this would be a time to ask those questions, I think, versus wait till the next meeting, then they have to go back and find all that out.
Okay, so I think what they're talking about is, like with One Love Brewery and also with, Gordy's.
Okay.
I don't know why I can never remember. Anyway, Gordy's, so when they have outside seating, say they have 40 seats outside, they have to keep 40 seats inside ready in case the weather changes or whatever.
Exactly.
So they're not asking for additional seats, you know, that are gonna require additional parking. Okay, so this is just for the outside seating we're talking about
Yes.
here. So that's what they're talking about.
What we
They're
said,
talking-
yeah, might want to explain like what OJ said, that for every table that you use outside on a nice day, there has to be an empty table inside. So that there's no net gain of
Right.
seating.
Okay.
Well, maybe they could gain seats if they have enough parking. We don't know.
Well, and, right, One Love didn't look at it that way, One Love just said, came in for that, so you would have to look at the total parking, I guess, to see.
Paul, how many spots, total parking in the complex?
think it's 348, Jack,
348,
48.
yeah, so it sounds like there's ample parking, so
Well, you don't, well, I don't know.
I don't know if he's got 40, whatever number inside versus outside. I mean, that's a maximum of taking up 80 parking spots, right? And you've got, you don't have any other restaurants there. You've got shoppers in Price Chopper, they're not gonna take up 300 people. 300
I
spots.
mean,
You
have we
gotta-
done anything?
You wouldn't require radius.
Huh?
You wouldn't require radius, one
Should be like
parking spot for every.
4 seats.
Four seats.
Yeah,
But you have to do the math. You have to figure out, you have to take the square footage of the space that's there. And take a look at what's, I mean, if there's plenty, then that's fine, but it was designed to not have any of that. So all of a sudden now we're having outside seating. So does that increase make a difference?
Yeah.
So I mean, you have to look at that.
If I may, Jack, board, please. Carolina talked about this before. You've got to remember, on that end of the shopping center, the bank and the post office closed on the weekends, number one, and in the evenings as well. So all the spaces are available again.
Yeah.
So that kind of throws the equation off and increases the amount of parking.
And we have done things like that before
Right.
for like, what was it down there by where the fly shop is, the old, the bagel store, and then there was some Bill and Bob's and down around there,
Oh, the nail salon.
the nail salon.
Yeah.
We've allowed them to use different parking spaces at different hours, but it was put in as part of their approval that's the way it was done. The issue we get into is that if for some reason there's the Easter Sunday and everybody's there and there's no parking, then you of course have an issue. So you gotta kind of be careful about how many times you sell that. Use
Right,
that
you
same
can't
park,
keep
how
use-
many times you use that same parking space.
Right, I mean, there is a tendency to lose track of it over the years.
And sometimes it does,
Well,
and that's what,
like, I couldn't tell you what he needs over there. I mean, because there's retail is,
we have the
parking space
theater,
every
you have the
300
theater, you have
square
the
feet,
grocery
and-
store, you have the
yeah.
laundry, you have what else do you have over there,
It's
Paul?
not like there's a chart.
Three areas here, you've got the post office, the bank. and
Post office,
$70.
bank.
It's 9 altogether.
Yeah, so I mean, you have to look at that and see how many spaces would be required for all those were full. Right? Is that the way you would do it?
Yeah,
I mean, I don't think we've done a breakdown of that particular project like we did up
No.
here at.
the
At
depot.
Gordy's, we had a
Depot,
breakdown,
Yeah,
and that's why we treated that when they did that, was because we asked them to do that. So if we treat someone different, we gotta kind of look at that, I think.
Maybe you and I
yeah,
can-
but I mean, we know parking is tight at the
Maybe you and
depot.
I can work on that.
Well, the depot is one thing different than all the other ones. The depot came in, it wasn't a full plan site plan review for all the parking,
Yeah, mhm.
There was a different scenario for that one.
Yeah.
I'm sure we can find a way to make it work.
Yeah, I'm sure we can.
We should just, because we make Gordy's do it, and everybody else that was up there, that coffee house, stuff like that, we
Okay.
probably should not be different here, I think.
Okay,
There is another option.
guys, it's not, let's kind of keep the being in order here. Go ahead.
In back of your building, if I'm not correct, you have a lot of vacant land in back of the shopping mall. You could have all the employees parked back there and give you more space up front.
Well, that's what we usually do. We,
Yeah,
you know, put all the employees in the back.
So the employees will
And then,
be part of
you
the
know,
front density count.
Well, and I think there's another, yeah, there's all sorts of options open. I mean, there's a theater down there that's not open during the day. I mean, this
it's
parking
only
down there
open now Thursday through Sunday.
Thursday, yeah, during the night,
That
right?
could change over some of the,
Yeah, it could.
And I think you need to talk up because we can't all hear everything.
right.
Some of us are getting older.
Why don't we should look at what the requirement is and what's there now, so we have an idea for the record of what it is, because we've done that in a couple other different instances where people have come in and asked for extra seating or whatever, and if we don't identify it, then we don't know what it is.
Is that also gonna be part for the inspection that we wanna do to, take over next door, would that help as well? Because if you're talking about,
Well, that's what I was
if you're
thinking.
talking about, the seating,
Yeah.
we're thinking of doing. Yeah, next door.
Next door for the chapter one is gonna be 6 tables, every table is gonna be 2 taps. So it's 12 seats plus bar is gonna be 10 more seats, so it's 22 seats.
But if we do, right, but if you do the parking thing for the
for what it was.
For the outside,
retail,
right,
For
and for the,
whatever number of square feet it was, that was X number of spaces
right,
that we could attribute to that particular project and compare that to how many seats, how many parking spaces we think we would need for that many tables.
right.
And just,
Yeah, go ahead.
You already approved last year the outside seating, correct?
Correct.
So
No,
they're not at,
No, that was the Board of Selectmen. 'cause
Oh, the
that
Board of
was-
Selectmen.
That was
did
during the,
for
that was
COVID.
during the
That was
COVID. when they
COVID.
During
couldn't have
COVID,
inside.
okay, planning board didn't do it.
so the Board of Selectmen did a good thing, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
No, so anyways, what over some people said.
No, it didn't.
Okay,
I'm trying to be nice with my response.
but there were no problems with it in the outside. So what we're asking, as the gentleman just said, is another, 22 seats to provide additional parking for those 22 units. And there weren't any problem. So if Paul or the gentleman can come and show us that there's an additional 22 spots that be unused, there shouldn't be any problem.
I wouldn't think so either.
Okay.
22 spots before 85 people. 85.
And one other things too, if we take over chat room, it's gonna be only, the hours operating is gonna be 5 to 10, and the weekend is gonna be 5 to 12. So there's nobody's gonna park in the morning. We're gonna
Yeah.
use a nighttime business for people who wanna do dining at nighttime.
So therefore, the bag is post office.
We just have- We just have to be careful we're not doubles
Yeah,
using
I mean,
parking spots, that's all.
yeah. I mean, I don't recall ever having a problem parking over at that complex.
No,
Yeah.
no, the only time there's ever been a problem was when there was the craft fair.
Yeah.
I mean, other than that, I don't think there's ever been a problem, but we should follow up with the facts about how many parking spaces
Hold on,
there are.
guys. Paul, Jack, go ahead.
Paul told me he's gonna solve that problem. He's gonna put parking meters in every spot.
We have our permission. Let's go on.
You know,
well,
question-
just, I want you to guys keep in mind that, it's only gonna be for the summertime where I guess it's doubling the spaces because,
Yeah.
we wanna sit people outside and, during the winter time, of course, it's just gonna be inside, so.
But the chat room will be in addition
Exactly.
during the winter,
Yes,
right?
yes, that'll be
So-
something, it'll be, 365.
I don't think anything will prevent you from doing what you want to do. I think we just need to follow through because we've had other people that we've done this with and we've made them identify the parking spaces. So
But just in case, if we need to identify, like, say, 10 more spaces, can we take the back by talking, to Paul and see if we can?
I think it's probably up to you, Lynn. Paul's going to work with Carol and come up with how many spaces are there.
Okay,
And I think from there, as Carol said, you can kind of segment off and see how many you have. I'd probably be willing to bet that you probably have enough already, but without having a record of what's there and what's being used, it's kind of hard to say it's okay to expand something.
Okay.
Because it was designed with a certain amount of spaces. I'm sure they didn't put a whole bunch more spaces in there than they needed for when they made that development. So that's, you just gotta look at it. I'm sure something can be worked out. That would be my only comment.
Originally, it was supposed to be a big hotel in front of the sports center, remember? But we only had here, now it's included in it. When Mount came for us about 15 years ago.
You guys, have anything else for us? Anyone else have any other questions? All right, so is there a motion to continue the rest of the hearing? Item 4, new business on until Tuesday, May 3rd at 6 PM.
So
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right,
Thank you.
is there a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And can we continue the conceptual to May 3rd too? The other one, Reno?
Yeah, I just said everything was,
Yeah.
Definitely gonna be a full-blown-
They're not here anyway, right?
Full-blown site plan, right?
No, I was just gonna ask,
Exception will be changed from.
lives in New
Yeah.
Jersey, I think.
yes, please.